What is up, you guys? It is Steve O Form Beast. I'm coming at you with a Good Morning Monday, and I'm going to kind of go over what my old program was whenever I first began kind of like programming for myself before I got into Juggernaut AI, but at the beginning of whenever I started training for myself. So as you see, there's like a lot of code here. It's not that hard to decipher though. So let me come at you with this. I did block pools, and there were these little blocks at my gym. I believe they were either I believe they're 1 inch. So one block, two block, three block. So the way it would go is a one block's like 1 inch off the floor, or 1 to 2 inches off the floor. Then you had a second block that's almost like 4 inches. Third block's almost like, I would say, almost 6 inches. So it would be like it'd be right nearly where my knees were at. And so I didn't do a lot of really close, like above my knee stuff. But here we are with a 3 block pool. So I did one set of three with 551, and then I did a single at 585. Did some good mornings, 3x8, 155. Then I did reverse hyper leg extensions, 3x20. That was some pretty crazy little volume that I used because if you've ever done conjugate, if you've ever listened to Louis Simmons, he swears by the reverse hyper. So I believe that those were a staple. Kind of like the good morning, except I didn't do good mornings for singles. I didn't do good mornings on max effort days. If you know what conjugate is, there's a max effort upper, max effort lower, dynamic effort upper, dynamic effort lower. All that means is you're going to change out the movements every week for your maximum effort. So you work up to a uh, top set of five, but you're going all pretty much all the way. And RPE terms, you're going to go until you can't, like that fifth rep should absolutely be a killer rep. Like you can't do one more rep. Same way with three and same way with one. That's what a max effort day is. Okay. So we can tell I had a 3 block pool, 551, 585, good mornings, 155, 70. And I still kind of use a RPE scale system for my accessory work. Just because I like to, like, I don't want to always go to failure on my accessory work. And I kind of got already used to the RPE system. So I kind of mixed the two together, especially sometimes I thought I could get one more or two more reps in the tank, even on my max effort days, although that's not what the max effort day is about. And I would use my RPE scale to be like, it was still pretty good, heavy, hard set, so I wouldn't feel too bad about that. The thing is, if you're doing true maximum effort, listen to Louis or any of these dudes, that maximum effort set is just that you are going for a top killer set of five. Like you shouldn't be able to get another rep after your fifth rep. You shouldn't be able to get another rep after your third rep or your doubles or a single. You should be able to not do any more. Now, for the raw power lifter, you could actually undulate or change up the volume and intensity based on that. So for raw powerlifting, you could do maybe a heavy set of five, then go back down, do some AMRAP sets with 10% off. I got a lot of this. I got a lot of this information for Conjugate for Raw Powerlifters, the Raw West Side Bundle by J.R. Rothenberger on Amazon on the Audible. They're actually pretty informative books if you like the raw conjugate training. If you want to train conjugate for raw powerlifting, those are some really good reads, some listens. Um, there's a lot of leeway also with the conjugate system. You can change up your accessories on a regular basis, which they do. You can change up, but I like to stick with my accessories for at least 4 weeks, see how it goes, then maybe change them after that, 4 to 8 weeks. That way I make sure that, yes, I use progressive overload on my accessories, or back in the day I did. Progressive overload is a pretty good system, or like more of a linear pattern for some supplemental accessory exercise. Nothing wrong with that. And there's honestly nothing wrong with training in a progressive overload style or a linear style. It just eventually you're gonna want to move on to kind of like a better style of programming. And this was kind of like my first try at it. For my maximum effort upper, I went for a slingshot bench, went 1x5, 220, 242, and I worked up to a top single at 331. I remember that. I didn't really use the RPE scale. Um, did some JM press at 155, and I did do quite a bit of accessory. That's 5 sets of 25 with single arm dumbbell rows and single arm pull downs, 150 barbell curls and skull crushers with 40. Uh, Now here's the speed work right here. This is going to be uh, beltless pause, uh, squats, I believe, and then speed deadlift. So we got 8 sets of 2 at 245, and then we got 6 sets of 1. That was a pretty easy day. And then I still have my reverse hyper / leg extension. And I use 70 pounds of reverse hyper, 90 with the leg extension. I did try some GHRs and some weighted sit-ups as well. Those were pretty good. GHR, I couldn't do as much volume as I thought I could, honestly. And so then we have our speed bench day. So I just did 8 sets of 3 with a monster mini band. That's what MMB is. If you know what those are, if you get them from Westside, they are the black mini band. They're one step up from the red mini band. I would use those on my bench sessions on a regular basis, along with the red band. Then I had incline dumbbell bench press, and I just started pretty easy. Like I started off on 40s. Um, then I did some face pulls with 70, some lateral raises, rooted out flies, supersetted those, started with 15, pec deck, started with 121, and as you can see, I'm kind of using the RPE system for that. Then I have tricep pushdown and cable bicep curls. And so that was my week 1. After this, I did a safety squat bar squat. So I did 1x5 at 275, 1x3 at 330. And now I'm just kind of trying to get in some extra volume. And then I did 440 for a single. I remember this because it felt, man, I remember using the safety squat bar maxing out, and it felt pretty heavy because it's for I do low bar squats. I thought I might could have done another rep, but I didn't risk it that day. I have upright good mornings, 3x8. Again, I kept the staple reverse hypers leg extensions. And then I did GHR, AMRAP. So I only did 4. And then I did my weighted sit ups. So here we are. I changed it to incline bench press. So I only worked up to 225 for a single JM press. I did 3x5 for 160. I did single arm dumbbell rows, single arm pull downs, 8. We can do, I believe those are skull crushers, 5x20, and dumbbell chest flies at 30. So you can see you can change up your accessory work on a regular basis. Then I have beltless. Uh, this is box. This is box squats, I believe, and it's 8 sets of 2. Below parallel box squat. That now is like below parallel box squat. It's a 275. Speed deadlift 6x1 300. We have our reverse hypers again, leg extensions, and GHRs and weighted sit ups. Sometimes I would skip out on the ab work. I'm just being honest, but uh, I've tried not to do that on the ab work. So I just up it up 8%, man. So I started pretty much like 45%, probably went to 50%. 8 sets of 3 monster mini band, incline dumbbell bench press, face pulls, lateral raises, pec deck, tricep push downs, and cable bar curls. or cable bicep curls, but cable bar curls. It's like, what, brother? So yeah, man. There was just a lot of volume. Went in 3 week waves, and this is my third week. And the cool thing about Conjugate that I really like is, say you're not feeling a particular movement for that week or something for your max effort, you can always change it as long as you're getting in that max effort work. So I go on a 1 block pull, and I pull a 617 for my final single. So upright good mornings, 195. I think I was using a safety squat bar at this time. I'll be honest with you. Reverse hypers and GHRs. Close grip bench press. I worked up to 287. The reason why it says 287 is I was using kilo plates at this time. I have my JM press for 160, single arm dumbbell rows, single arm pull downs, or supinated yeah, single. I might be single arm pull downs or straight arm pull downs. Sorry about that. Straight arm pull downs, uh, barbell skull crusher and skull crusher, and some dumbbell chest flies. So we got, again, below parallel box squat, 8 sets of 2, speed deadlift, 6 sets of 1, reverse hyper leg extension, GHRs, and then here we are again. We got our banded bench press, monster mini band. We worked up. I'm just slowly working up with everything on my accessories. Although Louis and them, they did so much hypertrophy work and stuff, they would take 3 or 4 sets to failure on their accessory work. So it was a lot of bodybuilding work. I was kind of doing more of a progressive overload, kind of taking it easy on my accessories. Um, because I didn't want to burn myself out for my maximum effort days. So I kind of chilled with most of my accessories, except, as you can see, RP 10 on my lateral raises and our rear delt flies, pec deck, going pretty heavy on that, and then tricep push downs and cable bicep curls. And here we are in the fourth and final week. We got a squat. We work up to a pretty good little single. That's not my max, but I was just kind of taking it easy. Upright good mornings, reverse hypers, GHRs, bench press, just a regular bench press. Worked up to that, and I did an off program day. And I went for a deadlift, 5-1, 2x1 failed. Broke ground though on the deadlift. And then here we are. We have bar weight, pretty easy shit right here. Below parallel box squats, pretty much the same thing. So we get into, my bad, week 5, and I'm just squatting like a madman. So I went for pretty much one of these I didn't hit depth. The other one I did for a 520. Okay. And you usually don't want to throw in both, like, usually don't want to squat back to back on conjugate. I'm just being honest. This was me just being a bro. So I was squatting back to back on conjugate. You definitely don't want to use the movement for more than 3 weeks for the law of adaptation, like, because you're going to adapt to that stimulus. And the whole point for Louis was you trade out the movement, that way you wouldn't get so adapted to the weight that the law of diminishing returns, meaning that you're doing something so much that you're no longer seeing a benefit from doing it. That's kind of like Louis' whole premise for doing the conjugate, is if you change up those movements every other week and you kind of swap them out on a regular basis, you're not going, like, if you revisit movement every month or something, you're more than likely to make more progress. I would kind of agree with that from an advanced kind of lifter. For the beginner and intermediate man, I would say, look, focus on the specificity. That's one of the key things for training is specificity. You have to be specific in the way in which you're training. So law of specificity states that if you want to get better at something, you must do that certain something repetitively in order to get better at it. in raw powerlifting, you're not going to get better at raw powerlifting by not benching. You must bench, you must squat, you must deadlift. So the law of specificity is very, very prevalent in raw powerlifting. If you want to get better at bench, you must bench. So if you are a conjugate style lifter and you want to get better at bench press, here's what I would recommend you do. Instead of doing all the fancy bench pressing, board presses, block presses, pin presses, what I would tell you is close grip bench press, wide grip bench press, regular bench press every now and then. Slingshot would be a good way to overload your bench press. Uh, Use a different bar, a Swiss bar, like the football bar bench press, things like that. Even incline bench press, although there's not a whole lot of carryover for the regular bench press, it's similar enough to where I could see you getting some gains from that. Um, there's many raw movements. Decline bench press is probably a good one. If you're going to be able to overload it, you're going to usually be able to do more on your decline than you will do on your regular or your incline. So if you want to throw in even some overhead movements, that's cool too. Uh, it was what they call a special upper exercise, so it won't be as specific, but it could strengthen, like use your shoulders and your triceps. But if you're serious about doing a regular uh, raw, like conjugate for raw powerlifting, you just switch up the bars, use different grips, but you're pretty much wanting to stay in that bench. Like the Buffalo bar bench, that's a pretty good one. So you want to keep it pretty similar to the competition. I deleted a whole training cycle. I believe that it was not bad, but it was not necessarily the best. So right here, it's the same thing. Safety squat bar, 405. I may have been able to get two more reps. Didn't really want to push it, but I did. I remember these. Two by AMRAP, 315. I think I got like 8 to 10 reps on each of those. Right here is the one block pulls. Work up to 505 for 9. Looking back at that set, I probably could have done more, but I did not. I was just chilling. Close grip bench press. I do remember the 260 was an all out effort. And then I did regular bench press, 2 sets of 10. This was this was the block presses, 215 by 3 by 5. And then you see the 10 by 1 for 245. Those were pretty easy singles. I was just kind of experimenting with that. This right here, this was still slingshot. I was kind of trying a weird peaking program that you find on the West Side for Raw Powerlifting, or the West Side Raw Bundle by J.R. Rothenberg. So I was kind of improvising some of these methods here. And so, as you can see, I would bench press, close grip bench press. And really, the way you want to do that is kind of at bench press, incline, close grip, regular bench press. So I was only visiting the regular bench press every month. So then I kind of just went for a squat, then a deadlift. As you can see, not my best week with these. This was a PR. I remember this well. It did well, but my deadlift didn't do so well. Probably I was over fatigued. I have hip thrust, lunges, hammer rows. I still did another bench press, and then I kind of got into some other weird stuff. This is a whole different training cycle right here, man. But that's kind of the gist of it. I did have a whole entire another block that I did do. I deleted it for some reason. I'm not sure why, but it had Buffalo Bar, uh, Slingshot, Close Grip, and some other things. for the bench, and I think I pretty much kept it the same with my deadlift. So that was like a long time ago. That was a pretty crazy little training block there. I would say if you're training and you're like an intermediate lifter, this is not a preferred method for you. Although this did bring me pretty good gains when it came to my squat. I would do those reverse hypers. I would do the leg presses, or not leg presses, leg extensions, and I would change up the safety squat bar. You want to get some stronger quads. Talk about like safety squat bar is pretty good. Strong low back. Reverse hypers are going to be great to strengthen your spinal erectors and things like that. And so that's what I would say. I got a lot of good squatting. I do not think that my deadlift went a lot of places, although I was able to pull a regular off of a deadlift bar with straps. I use straps, so I'll admit that people say that's cheating. Well, I was still able to pull over 601, and I'm about to maybe pull that in my next meet on a stiff bar, USA PL. But this is kind of just to give you an overview of kind of what I was doing. These supplemental exercise, JM press is one of those movements that's pretty regular in whether or not you do conjugate, linear, undulating periodization, all that stuff. Progressive. It's a very easy movement to overload. You could probably even throw it in if you're doing max effort work. You'd probably throw it in for a max effort day. But that's pretty much what I was doing. Besides, like I said, I deleted the other part of the program. I'm not sure why. It could have been a cool thing to show you guys, but like I said, it was like the buffalo bar, close grip, slingshot, and I think I had a regular bench press on there as well for my max effort movements, and for my for max effort lower body movements at max effort lower body, I believe that I used, just like I said, safety squat bar. It probably went close to a 3 block pull or 1 block pull to safety squat bar to kind of like similar to up there to probably a 3 block pull, and then I would do I would do regular low bar squats. So that's kind of it, man. I'm glad to share this video with you guys. If you guys have any questions, man, feel free to come in the comment section. Tell me what you thought about this video. Tell me what you thought about this little program. I'm not going to say that it was the best program, but it kind of did go with the West Side principles of switching the movements out pretty much on a weekly basis for max effort work. It did kind of follow the pattern of speed work and what they call like little wave loading. Make sure that, bam, hey, we're just going up a little bit in percentages. Deload, you don't deload on your max effort work, really. If anything, you just change up the rep range. And so, yeah, let me know what you guys think here. Again, love you guys. I would not recommend this program off the rip, but I would say that I did learn some things, and I got some pretty good knowledge out of doing this little West Side block. Do I think it's necessary for an intermediate powerlifter? No, but I do respect Dave Tate, Louis Simmons, Matt Winning, people that talk about conjugate, and I probably end up, if I ever get to a pretty solid strength level, I think it will be great. So I think a conjugate will probably be the way I go, but it will be probably more of along the lines of, hey, we're going to be doing a little bit more volume and not necessarily focusing on so much maximal one set efforts. All right, love you guys. Hope you guys have a great day. Remember to lift, live, and learn. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, Steve 014 Beast. All right. Out.